Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, brothers and sisters in Christ. An afternoon, evening, wherever you may be. And this is the love. This feed from his basket, the love from above. I like to feed you something healthy and take you out from the wilderness. Have a little bit of right time and right understanding. And to be direct with you, coconut oil is so good for your skin. Yeah, coconut oil. You know, ladies, there's this, I will show it, I think it's sitting in there. I will show it to you. Even for, maybe, it's really good for your skin. It's really good for your gums. And it is good it's organic. You have to make sure it's organic. I haven't tried it the other way because I haven't needed to. And hopefully I don't. But this here you can use on your vagina too. Yeah. So it's DME coconut oil. It's fresh pressed, organic, virgin coconut oil. So you could check into that at the health store. Maybe you're having some dryness and you also want to get yourself checked to see how your levels are and what's going on. Well, the right time and the right conditions. Coconut oil. And another one is with your toothpaste with no fluoride. I guess I could have grabbed it too. As I've showed you before, it is amazing on the gums. And when you put coconut oil on, it also makes the blood flow more. Yeah. You know, blood flow starts to decrease in our mouth. So it becomes swollen or sensitive and the oxygen levels drop down and the bacteria multiplies. Yeah. So it's good. You might have been brushing your teeth and all of a sudden it starts to bleed. Might have gotten areas where you didn't get. So you get that sticky biofilm going on in it. And so you just need to penetrate oil into the gums. So I will take coconut oil. You can get a toothpaste with it in the health store. And what it does also, you want to just make sure you get all that bacteria out of there. Because we don't like cloves. I use clove a couple times. Cloves is a temporary relief, but it is a numbing and it helps with inside your mouth. So it is good. You get the clove oil. I actually have cloves also. I don't have them with me, but I eat the buds. There's different things you can use. The bath, they say manica and coconut and cinnamon. Oregano and coconut oil, tea tree and sesame seed oil, whatever it does, it helps with the gums and it's regrowth. So you want the blood to flow through. Yeah. And if you have any mercury in your mouth, that's going to cause a lot of problems. As you know, they take mercury out of thermometers, right? So, yeah. So just something to have a peek at. Now, bone spurs. Oh, what about bunions, bone spurs, cysts? I use castor oil. Some use castor oil and baking soda for any kind of fibroids. So skin health. It also, your bones do regrow. Let's say you had a fracture, whatever, they do grow. But the castor oil, I find that what it does, it promotes types of circulation going on because I'm rubbing it in. It's penetrating through. And also, let me see what I got here for you. Skin health. Okay, so it helps with inflammation because my knees, sometimes it wouldn't matter if I got down to 100 pounds. There was an area that I've been softening up that needs to be taken out. So it is softening. And it used to be really, really hard and on my knees. And they push on my knees, which pushes on my kneecaps, tries to push it out of the way. So I have to pour a lot of castor oil in and it softens it up. So again, I thought it was something that I could take care of with weight loss, and it's not just weight, but mind you, that helps the knees. So detoxifying the skin is important. Neutralizing the stomach. So talking about this, dry, cracked feet. I used to have that, and that is a health issue as well. Okay, so you need to hydrate that and use that. Castor oil is a great barrier. Now, the tongue. We're talking about the mouth, the tongue. Being direct with you. There's a time and a place for everything this to be said or not said, right? This is why the police say, you have a right to remain silent. You do. And anything that you say can be used against you, right? So they're always giving you a warning, because they know that it's best to be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to anger. And if anyone out there has been interrogated, if you are tired and hungry, I'm telling you, when you're tired, you're the most vulnerable. So, zip it. And plus, it's not submissible in court. But be careful, because why would you want to be in that position? And sometimes, though, you don't want to admit to something that you didn't do. Okay? Don't admit to something you didn't do just because you're tired. That's ridiculous. I know you hear lawyers, I remember them saying that to my dad one time. Well, just take a plea bargain. He said, no. The truth never lies. He says, why would you take a plea bargain? Truth doesn't lie. The answer is no. And if they were persistent on that, he just said goodbye. I don't need to explain myself anymore. The truth is the truth. So the lies, you have to always looking for something to back it up, to cover it up. But again, it surfaces. So that's how my dad ended up with a really good lawyer, a pro bono, that come in and go, whoa. And he was great, from Toronto. So there's a time to speak, and there's a time not to speak. So the tongue is, be very careful what comes out of the mouth. And every one of us has said things that we shouldn't have, but it's too late, because we ran off a feeling from our heart, and we were angry or bitter, or it could be really, really good. It can be really, really healthy as well. So we have an obligation not to speak. Okay. So here in our frontal lobe, this part of the brain, because if I ran off of this only, my emotions, and I met someone, and I went, oh, that person was so nice to me, I'm in love with them, oh my gosh, I want to be with them, and oh, they smell the right way, and they smell good, and then you go to find out a few days later that they pick their nose in public, they smell, really, it was just a cover-up, spray that on, and the hygiene was bad, or they just didn't take care of their business, and on top of that, has some serious mood disorders. So where's the heart? Right? Where's the heart? So again, it could be something that you don't want to jump into a relationship on an emotion. Okay. So we have an obligation not to speak. We have an obligation to observe. And that's using the right and our reasonings, our will. Okay. So our frontal lobe is our foresight. It is the one that speaks to God. Okay. So the tongue can heal. And I like that, because I like speaking good upon people and upon myself and life. And, something that's just even a smile or a kind word can change someone's day, help change someone's day. But if we run off emotions, and then what happens? It's like a heartbeat. It's like that, right? So you're in and out of a relationship. You cannot stick with one relationship, because you're running in an emotion, you're out an emotion, you're in an emotion, you're out an emotion. So emotions are very good. Feelings are very, very good. But it's what comes first. Okay. And it can be healing, like I said, from our tongue, and it can be harmful. But the tongue can like trip us up, or the tongue can build us up, right? So if we can trip someone up with our mouth is just as much as someone sticking their foot out and tripping you up. Okay. Gaslighting is another one. You hear about that. I was never familiar with that word until the last 4 years. So I didn't even know what it was. Never thought of it. Never thought of lighting something underneath someone and setting them up. It was never. I don't wake up and think about things like that. I wake up and, and be refreshed, and I did to study, and look outside and have a shower or wash where I need to be washed or brush my teeth. I don't think about what can I do to trip somebody up. When you have that, that's called a premeditation. Okay, that's a sickness. Now, premeditation can be healthy too, right? And your plan for the day, it can be healthy. So principles, if we look at this, the tongue of the wise is well, and even the wicked man that restrains his tongue, right? Restrains from using his tongue, knows it is wise, right? So, if we rehearse over and over negative feelings, what happens? It keeps us in the darkness, right? Okay, so to use a healthy speech is grace given. So when you speak healthy to yourself or healthy to someone else, that is grace given. And slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to anger. Okay, because our tongue likes to go. Right? It's a very strong muscle. So when we slow to speak, quick to listen, we pause and we plan, as Barbara O'Neill talks about. Now, problems and cause. We look at the cause and effects. Cause and effects. Knowledge is easy to him that understands feelings. And so knowledge is easy for him that understands about those kind of feelings. But feelings are good, but not allow it to control us. So it's like if you're only running off an emotion, you're in and out. So you have to know what comes first. So how do we know this? We need knowledge. And before, if we didn't know it, now we do. It's knowledge. Make no friendship with the wicked. So how do you know if someone's wicked? Well, you don't really. Not the first time you meet him, I can put in a cover-up, right? I can be a cover-up for you. But, so you want to be careful who you're jumping in with, because someone can seem, like I said, so glamorous. And then what happens? So you want to be careful of that. And so you don't want to make friendship with that. You don't want to, because what happens? A person that's angry all the time is actually a vengeance to me, because anger seems to, I believe, only last for a short time. But if they're always doing that, then you're thinking about, they will shrink you. They will shrink you. They will shrink you down. Be kind of like if you, let me see. I'll pretend this is the phone. I'm calling you up. And you're on the other end and you're saying, hello. Hi. And they just look at the phone and they go, they're not saying anything. Well, that's a test, isn't it? What does that tell you? So we can understand what's going on here. Well, or else the person has had a what? So if I'm watching this, okay, but let's say you don't know what's going on the other end, you do not see it. That person could have had something happen to them. See what I mean? So, here we need knowledge. Make no friendship with angry man, because this will shrink you. So negative experiences can grow, and what we look at, it tears you down, and it's full of thorns, and it destroys the dendrites, which don't grow new cells, right? We want everything to grow. So what we're doing is destroying the brain. We look at it this way. We are adapted to negative. We're adapted to negative, so we do not want to learn something new in the right conditions. We're not adaptable to first. So we're adaptable to only negative. Think about this, and explain why, because why we're born into a world like that, and why we need some rewiring, because it's too easy to fall into the negative, because that's what we're only used to. So to remove the thorns allows the cells to multiply and allows dendrites to grow. And my understanding, Barbara talks about that each time, was 70,000 dendrites when you're learning a music instrument or language, or I like history as well, and memorizing, which I need to do more of. In Proverbs 22, as she talked about, bow our ears down to the wise, to listen, have ears to hear. Forgiveness gives us wings. Forgiveness gives painful. Now, this is a quote from Barbara O'Neill. Painful past to dust. Okay, so your is disintegrated. The more you forgive, the more you practice it, the more it sets you free. So what I do is I have to, if I know something's on a continuum, and I'm in a positive mindset and in a positive place where I am, health is wealth, and I test. Because if something is very unhealthy in a very long time, I need someone to go in and take care of it. I can't do it on my own. So what I do is I test it first. And then if the test failed, I have to step away. Because then I know that the continuous of stirring up of trouble has not stopped. So then I have to step away, and I do not go. Even if it's setups to test me, it's still, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay. Now, forgiveness gives that, removes that, it distinguishes it. It's like getting the fire, putting out a fire, right? So, when she speaks about the glial cells, they, at nighttime when you're sleeping, they go, and they suck away. They do. They suck away, and they clean up, and that rewiring cleans up all the mess in there. So we do have a vacuum cleaner inside our brain. And with our learning about getting healthy and learning something new, not to be stuck. In the teachings with her, we learned that's anything that's mono, right? So a monomaniac. So I have to remove that word so, because it seems to be so often that I use it too often. The monomaniacs is something like, you are very good at, let me see, running all the wiring or the musical instruments, but you can't even cook, clean, all these extra, right, that we need to learn. The basics, cooking, cleaning, taking care of ourselves, laundry, stuff like that, gardening. But the big steps up as it gets everything growing in there. So when we're studying languages and memorizing and music, etc. So we need not to be stuck on one learn. Computers is one. You might be really good at computers but not do anything else. So you don't want to do that, because then the brain, or maybe you're very good at drinking, but that's it. And it's very dangerous. So to learn is a choice, and it's a will. So it's working our muscles. So fear, 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 fear. When you hear, I do not fear man, does that mean you're going to walk up to somebody full of wildfire and say, I'm tough, I can beat you up, I'm not scared of you? No. If there's wildfire, run the other direction. Okay? But do not fear man, because man will lead you astray. Fear God, because fear God means to respect. Respect. So fear is the opposite of faith. Fear is the opposite of faith, because we need to unlearn what we knew or know and come into the new. So it's like, here's one. Your blood is running thick, and always back this up. Talk to your doctor. Your blood is running thick. I experienced this. Running really thick, nothing. Darn thing won't come unplugged. Any darn thing. So I found out if I take a lot of cayenne pepper, get that going, Celtic salt, get the more of the fluid in my cells, but cayenne pepper thinned out my blood. No. If I went to the doctor, he says, no, you need these blood thinners. And I can say, thank you. Thank you for this information. I don't have to go on to a story about them, what I'm doing. It's a choice. It's my will. But we also do need doctors. Like if you break something, fracture something, or you need a heart transplant or something like that, you're going to need those doctors. Okay? So don't forget that. Now, what we need to know is the fear of the Lord is respect. So our source, which gives, I look at it as the cause. The source is the cause. The problems give the effects. So we want it healthy, right? So to do this, we need to require knowledge. I like knowledge. So it's easy for him to understand. Feelings are good, but not allowed to control us. As I said, if you're meeting someone, so we need this knowledge, right? So once I got more knowledge, then I was able to understand that I need to use the front of my brain before I jumped in on an emotion, or feelings, nothing more than feelings, trying to forget them. So you don't want to run off that, right? Or that song, sharing the nights together. Whoa, yeah. And then you wake up and go, what the heck did I just do? Right? Because you were sharing the nights together. And then you were going, feelings, nothing more than feelings. Oh yeah, that orgasms felt good, in those drinks. But damn, what did I just wake up to? Right? So check, test to see if it is productive. So check, test before you go into something and see if it's healthy, and give your brain a happy, positive, and so you can work on a little project if you want. Smile for 5 minutes. So, and what happens when you do this, even if you're not happy, and if you're in a panic, and it's hard when you're in a panic, it's like, how in the heck do you want me to smile for? Fake it. So it's hard, right? Like, you just want to give the finger, flip the finger, and say, So what I did was, it takes practice. And so when I was having some issues, it was like, okay, remember back what they told me. I'll go take some of this, and I'll take this, and I'll sit down and drink this herbal tea. And I had to put my mindset into a new way of thinking, instead of jumping out this way that we're used to doing. And it takes a lot of work. But it's worth it. So you can rewire that brain yourself in 21 days by practice. So we need the knowledge first to find out how to do it, right? Use the front of the brain. So we check it and we test it. And so if you smile, like, smile. So if you smile for 5 minutes, what happens? It changes your whole mindset. So you test drive it. So when you're checking something, a situation out or whatever, and something isn't right, like a red flag's still there or whatever, test it just like you do when you get a vehicle. You test drive it, you check it out, right? You check to see if it's an asset, see if it's healthy, working well for you, and you do a thorough check on it. So we can teach ourselves this, but we need, again, the knowledge, okay? So, like I said, we don't want to run off feelings, nothing more than feelings. Feelings are very good, but it's how we use it. Okay? So, feelings before we need to test drive, okay? Because that heart just, relationships. That's how people jump in and out of relationships. They have different partners. What I do is, you know what I do? What I did in my past, I haven't been on a date in years. But what I did was I would test. So I go in, somebody asks me a date, okay, I test. And when I test, and it's like, oh my gosh. As I said, my Aunt Teresa, she says, what the heck, you just left. And I'd tell her. And she'd be on the floor, she would actually be on the, she would get laughing, and she would, as happened to her a few times, either on the floor or she'd wrap herself in a curtain, trying not to laugh. But yeah, because I was saying, well, I tested. So then you go through different dates, and it's like, I'm getting tired of dating because you test and you're checking the direction, right? So it's good that you can make someone smile. And that my aunt did a lot of around me. So I miss that woman. But because something started on a continuum, it caused a lot of division between everybody, which is very unhealthy. Now, we don't want to jump into something on a heartbeat, so we're testing. Didn't matter if you went out with 5 dates, 6 dates. If it's unhealthy and you're going out on these dates and they're going, oh my gosh, this is not, except I didn't use the word alignment. I just went, this person wants counseling instead, you know. Well, this is good practice because in the ministry, but honestly, it wears me down because I'm not putting the person down. It's just that you want to make sure you stay healthy and stay strong, because you can't help people without helping yourself first. Okay, so again, we need to observe first and knowledge to understanding. Okay. That's really, really important. So don't listen to what man says. If you're going out on different dates, testing them, and it's failing, just move forward, okay? So we need direction. We need someone who is going to direct us in the right way. So before you judge a woman or a man, and let's say they went on dating and it didn't work, they could be testing them to see if they're in the right direction. Okay. So we need to bridle up. And as there was a family out here, and the horse, oh my goodness, I love the horse. So the horse come up and he cuddled all inside me and kissing, and then he'd take his foot up and down, nice and gentle. And what the horse was doing was playing with me. And then the horse, it's the horse's way of saying to me, I just invited you into my family now, because they can sense it. So, and I said to the young girl, the daughter, the gentleman's daughter, asked us, she ever tried kissing you? She says, no. So, and we were laughing, we were smiling, we just loved it, because he was, they look right in your eyes, and then the horse would cuddle inside me and try to kiss me, and then would be playful, right? So that was love. That was showing me that the horse trusted me that way. It was playfulness. So what you do is, that horse has a bridle on them. So I says to the young girl, I says, does that hurt her mouth? And she says, oh no. She says that it directs them. So we keep them, so they have binders on. So, plus I believe the binders so that they don't see stuff that scares them, right? So she was explaining it to me. So doesn't matter what age a child is, they teach you, right? So when a horse is bridled, it directs you. As a healthy man, a man in your life needs to direct you, okay? So as a horse is led into the right direction, the path of least resistance is a man's way, which is emotions. So a negative, we're very good at negative, which is the story of the fall, the sin, okay? Lacking love, lacking and feeding off only lust and not first love from above. So what we need is balance. In Exodus 20 and verses 1 to 17, Exodus 20 verses 1 to 17 is given by God, God who brought you out of the land of Egypt and out from, sitting in the wilderness in bondage. And it takes practice. It sounds easy, but when you go to do it, it takes practice. Just like when someone trains you up to do wrong, they're practicing on you to continue to keep doing, to eat that vomit. So practicing healthy, to practice vomiting way is much easier. Practicing the healthy way is something in a new experience. And that experience you need the knowledge to do so. Again, to know our direction. As the Lord says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, forever who believeth him shall not perish but have everlasting life. We don't know when he's coming, for he is the way, truth, and life, right? And maybe you don't know that, but what I just learned or explained is from his word, direction. And that's why we need to test. Another one went to me, well, how do you test? As I just explained, that's how you test, right? The direction. Again, the path of least resistance is a man's way, because there is no it's easy to fall into the trap because of the fallen sin. Okay? So it's much easier to run off those emotions and negative. Very easy. And that's why it takes practice. And to come out from them, away from the wicked. I am Rhonda Fair at this podcast, and I'm not running off feelings or sharing the nights together and then see you, right? This podcast at TDKMS and Feed from His Basket and Love from Above, and God bless.